Plant a seed and watch it grow. $1 is all it takes to make a difference. Visit www.worshipcenterradio.net and click the banner on the right-hand side and sow a seed to Worship Center Radio, the platform of champions.
From Detroit to the nations, you are listening to the world's #1 Christian station, Worship Center Radio, the platform of champions.
Take off your shoes and relax your feet. Take off your shoes and relax your feet. Take off your shoes and relax your feet. Just kick it, just kick it, just kick it, just kick it. I told him to.
Hello. I am so glad to be back on the air with you lovely listeners. Welcome to my program. I love the intro. I'm so happy to be back on the air. It's been a long 2 or 3 weeks. I'm so sorry you guys have been listening to the same show over and over again, but just know you were all in my hearts. Well, today I am all by myself. My lovely friend Latanya is not here in the studio with me, but I will try to do the show on my own the best way I possibly can. Today's topic is forgiveness. It is such a hard thing to do, especially when you feel like you've done something wrong. Forgiveness is its own little world. Sometimes we have to understand that forgiving yourself first for the act that you've done is the most important. If you've done wrong to someone, you have to forgive yourself for doing it first and foremost. And then, of course, that person hopefully will forgive you so that they can move on. By the way, if you want to hang out with me on tomorrow, we will be in Novi, the Worship Center Network. All of us will be there at Buffalo Wild Wings at 6:30, and then at around 7:30, we'll be going to watch The War Room. It's supposed to be like this really great film. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you there. Again, it's in Novi. Just follow our page at the Worship Center Network, or Worship Center Radio, Worship Center Studios, Worship Center Global Outreach. Any of those pages, we're all over Facebook. So just make sure, if you want to attend and you need more direction or more information, you also hit me up on Facebook, and I'll be sure to answer your questions there. So, getting back to our topic today, forgiveness, genuine compassion for those who have wronged us instead of allowing anger toward them to eat us away is the course of action recommended by psychologists, an exception to the belief that burying the hatchet brings peace to the soul. If you believe that, I think that forgiving people can be very easy. How do you avoid the dangers of self-forgiveness? When you forgive yourself, for what you've done, you've completely let it go. I think that forgiving yourself for what you've done, like I said, first and foremost, is the most important, because you don't want to carry on what you've done. You don't want to forever think, did that person forgive me? You forgive yourself, God forgives you. You have to forgive yourself. Not only is it in the Bible for you to forgive yourself, but who wants to walk around blaming themselves for something that they've done years and years ago? Can you forgive? Of course you forgive. You have to know how to forgive others. And once again, it all brings back to forgiving yourself. If you can't forgive yourself, how do you expect someone else to forgive you? If you can't forgive others, how do you expect, what if God just decided, hey, I'm going to stop forgiving you because you can't forgive other people? And the most interesting fact is that people will say, well, they've wronged me in this type of way, or I was abused as a child, I was this, I was that, how can I forgive them? Such and such was wrong, and why should I forgive them? Well, in all, of what's going on, I think that it's most important to forgive them. Sometimes we have to realize that being a human being is the most interesting fact of all. And sometimes we do hold grudges, and holding grudges can cause health problems. It can cause you to go through life never forgiving, never loving, not forgiving your boyfriend from cheating on you, can cause problems in your new relationship, because you'll forever think that those same things will happen to you, those same mistakes you will make. And I don't necessarily believe that it's an easy step. My mother, she left me when I was 2 years old, and let's just say that as a 2-year-old, you don't really know what's going on, but I'm 24 now. And if I never would have forgiven her for real, not just, oh, I forgive you, if I never would have forgiven her for real, who's to say that I wouldn't be the great mother that I am today, or I wouldn't have accepted love from any other person who was trying to give me love, if I was still holding on to the hurt and the pain of her leaving me. I think that we hold on to it because we are human, and we feel like, well, we're really not hurting ourselves, but you are. You're accepting the fact that that person got away with hurting you, or whatever case. And I think that not forgiving somebody definitely causes revenge to come and take over your mind. Like, you're so adamant about getting someone back or getting even. And everyone needs to know that God will deal with them on his time. If I never forgave my mother for leaving me and abandoning me and giving me up, I wouldn't feel the joy of God. I wouldn't feel the love of the woman who stepped in and raised me. I wouldn't feel love for her. I wouldn't even know how to love my own daughter if I was still holding on to that. And so sometimes you have to say it out loud. Like, I forgive you, I forgive you. And what I don't want people to do or take from that is, if you walk to your ex-boyfriend or someone who hurt you in the past and go, well, I forgive you, and then, starts a whole argument. You can't forgive somebody because someone wants you to forgive them, or because I'm telling you to forgive them and forgiveness is so good for your soul. No, I want you to forgive that person who done you wrong, because that's just who that's just who you are. You're about forgiveness, and God forgives you every day for the sins that you commit. God forgives you for those things that you're doing that are wrong. And you have to understand that, forgiveness doesn't mean it's okay, because it's not okay. Just because you say you forgive somebody doesn't mean everything's going to go back to normal and you're going to forget. You're going to forget about what's going on, that you're just going to move on with your life. No, sometimes forgiveness can take a while. I've never myself experienced sexual abuse, but for the young ladies and young men, or even older women and men who have experienced sexual abuse, I'm not saying to you that what they did can never, you'll forget it once you forgive them. No. But what I can tell you is that if you forgive them and you pray to God for help and strength to forgive that person, God will renew you and you'll be able to move on from it. You don't want it to hold over your life for the rest of your life. You don't want every relationship that you get in for that to be a barrier over it. You don't want to constantly hold on to that. I think that as a child, we often continue to be upset with our parents because there were things that our parents did. I know for me, I was the outcast in my mind, because my mom had 2 kids, with my dad, and it was kind of like, oh well, you're not my real mom, so whatever. And I think that once you speak those things, and when they start to come to pass, you sit there and you wonder, God, why are you doing this to me? Why am I the outcast? Why am I this? When initially that's not even what happened. My mom always made sure me and my sisters were treated the same. She made sure that we were raised the same. And in my mind, I took it and I ran with it. And although people want to blame the devil does have 50-60% of the time to do with it. You also have to realize that just like God puts a thought in your head and says do the right thing, the devil does the same thing. He puts a thought in your head, and it's up to you to entertain it. It's up to you to decide, well, I'm just going to sin today and God will forgive me. I think that once you take that step and say, I'm forgiving this person wholeheartedly, you move on. You literally have to understand that things don't always work out the way they're supposed to. And they won't always work out the way you think they should work out, because in your special mind, this is how you planned it to be. Like I was saying, I think that because I had created this whole thing in my head about my mom not treating me, my sisters the same, it kind of created a barrier on me and on everyone else, because I acted out of character most of the time as a child. And, like I was saying, when you do stuff as a child, you think your parents are just the worst. There is no forgiving them. But in reality, sometimes the things that they do are to protect you from other mistakes, or to keep you from bumping your head. And so, to the children who are listening, you're not going to forgive your parents for not letting you go to a party. You're not going to forgive your parents for taking your cell phone. That's not, what this is about. This is about true, honest forgiveness for someone, hurting you. And even though as a child you feel like your parents took your phone, so, that really hurts, it's okay. Forgive them. The reason being is because they did what they felt was in the best interest of you, and they took your phone for some odd reason, because you probably messed up, you probably did something you weren't supposed to do, you're on punishment, whatever the case may be. Forgiveness works all the way around. So it says once you forgive, that's the end of it. Like I said, it's not necessarily true. It won't just quickly be over. It won't quickly just it won't quickly just fade away, like, oh, I forgive you, so that's just whatever. No, it won't. Forgiveness, this is a myth. It says forgiveness is easy, you just do it, and it's not easy. Time does not heal all wounds, especially for those who've been fighting this forgiveness demon forever. At some point in time, you have to realize that whatever happened. You know what I mean? And although it's like a parent making her daughter or her son have an abortion, or something of that sort, and you never forgive your parent, because it's like, why would you make me do that? Why would you this? Why would you that? And so that will travel with you every day, but you'll always hate. You'll bring hatred, and you'll always hate the fact that happened to you. And it all ties back to forgiveness. Everything I'm saying ties back to forgiveness. You have to forgive, not only for yourself, but for the other person. Because you hanging something over someone's head clearly is not right at all. I think that we as young people, I think that we take everything to heart nowadays. And what we don't understand is that forgiveness does work both ways. You have to forgive that person. They have to forgive themselves. You have to forgive yourself, and the hardest part about forgiving someone is not knowing if they're truly sorry or if they're just saying, I'm sorry, can you forgive me? And then they go back, and do whatever they did. I actually looked up the difference between I'm sorry and I apologize, because I feel like once you forgive yourself for doing something wrong, you have to then take that same strength and go apologize to someone else. I remember as a kid, people used to say, don't say I apologize, say I'm sorry, because when you say I apologize, you're being rude, when that's not it at all. Here it says, who's to blame? When you say I'm sorry, you're saying not necessarily me. But when you say I apologize, you're taking full responsibility of the problem. You're taking full responsibility of what happened, whatever you did. It says, what do I feel that makes me say this? I am sorry means you're just feeling sorrow. You're feeling sorry for yourself. You're either sorry that you got caught. You're sorry that you didn't think of a smarter way to get away with it. But when you say I apologize, it all goes back to you sincerely know you're responsible for whatever happens. Can you be sarcastic with saying I'm sorry and I apologize? Absolutely, yes. I think that's where people got the whole definition of, if you say I'm sorry, you're being honest and true and sensible and sensitive and all the other stuff. And if you say I apologize, and you're being, rude and sarcastic, when necessarily both of them could be sarcastic. If you ever make a mistake and hit somebody and they're, or if you if you unintentionally hurt someone and they start complaining about it, or you guys start arguing about it, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, you can be sarcastic, or I apologize, both can be sarcastic. So, it's just all in the matter of how you're using it. It says the level of where the feeling occurs. If you say I'm sorry, it means you're emotional or empathetic. If you say I apologize, you're intellectual and emotionally. So me apologizing would be intellectually and emotionally sorry, like I'm truly, truly sorry. Empathetic and emotional could go either way. You're really emotionally tied to the situation that you're apologizing for, or you're just feeling sorry for yourself and you're like, whatever, I'm sorry, just please leave me alone. Likely inferred sincerity. This chart says that I am sorry is probably insincere and I apologize is probably sincere. That's very interesting that they would say that, because sometimes you can say I'm sorry very sincerely. You can literally mean it from the bottom of your heart. Like, I'm really sorry I hurt you. Or I'm really sorry that I didn't let you know about something. And then I apologize could be the same way. I apologize for not letting. So I feel like there's a hand in hand comparison with those two. Would you say this when someone has experienced a personal tragedy that you did not cause, like death in a family? Now, that one I have no idea about. This chart says, I am sorry, yes. I apologize, no. I feel like I apologize is more for if you know you did it and you sincerely am like very apologetic about it. And that's just my own opinion. If I hurt you, I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm not being difficult, or I'm not going to pretend like I didn't do it. I'm going to take full responsibility and apologize for what I did. Just saying I'm sorry, it's like, whatever, I'm sorry. Is this going to move us on? What do you want to say? I'm sorry for something happened that doesn't necessarily have to be related to me, or I feel sorry for inconvenience of big troubles. Using I apologize versus when I'm sorry. So here's some examples. When Karen's boyfriend cheated on her, she got angry and smashed the windshield of his car. She later apologized. In this example, Karen does not really regret her action because she feels like it was justified. See, and that's another thing where I apologize and I'm sorry goes hand in hand. First off, Karen, I'm gonna need you not to be smashing anybody's windshield of anybody's car. Because I'm just saying, you don't need to be smashing nobody's car. Let God deal with him. And not only that, when it comes to someone being cheated on, I mean, we've all been there, you know, where you're like, hey, I hate that I was cheated on. I'm sorry. So, you know, can you please like make it seem like you're really apologetic for, you know, cheating on me? But it all goes hand in hand. I really think that we have to. I honestly think like if it was me, I would use I'm sorry. I probably use I'm sorry more than 50 million times in my lifetime. I'm only 24. I would say I apologize to someone that I've truly hurt, you know, and like I said, I take this moment to definitely apologize to anyone that I've hurt. If I've offended you, I apologize. I sincerely apologize. And I don't think that putting sincerely in front of apologize makes it any better. But, you know, I sincerely apologize if I've wronged you, if I've done something wrong to you, because I've forgiven myself for it already. I already feel clear of the situation. I already know that it was me doing an unjust act and that it probably shouldn't have been done, but I did it anyway. And so I've already forgiven myself for it and I'm moving on from it. So now all I need is for you to forgive me. Now, if you're on the other side of that, I need you to forgive me thing. I feel as though you just need to say, you know what, I forgive you and move on. Let's not hold it over our head. And what trips me out and what we do as young women, because we're young women, we'll say, oh, I forgive you. And then we'll bring it back up. Once you forgive somebody, let it go. Seriously, like LIG. Exit, like whatever you need to do, write it down a million times. I forgive you. Forgive that person and move on. Like, don't hang it over their head because you already forgave them. You said, I forgive you. And if you sincerely forgive somebody, then if you for real, honestly forgive somebody, then you'll move on. You won't, you know, if it was that bad and that hurtful, you know, it might stick with you for a minute. But you forgave them, you moved on. Don't, every time you see that person or they do something else, don't bring it back up. Like, you totally forgave me for it, so let's move on. And another thing is, don't say you forgave someone just to say it. Just because they said, I'm sorry. Now, this is what trips me out. Here's a pet peeve of mine. I generally don't like when people say I'm sorry or I apologize, and then they go back and do the same thing that they just said I'm sorry or apologize for. Now, that's just, I have to pray to God about that one. Because it's like, God, I just forgave him for the first time. But they did it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more times. I need to talk to you about this forgiveness word. And don't quote me on that. Because I forgot to go talk to God about that. But in all honesty, like I said, if they do it, God's forgiving mercy forgives you. Constantly. Wow, that just came to me. God forgives you multiple times for doing the same thing. If you go and have sex out of marriage, you say, God, I'm sorry, and then you decide next week you're gonna go have sex out of marriage, and you say, I'm sorry, and then you go next week and have sex outside of marriage. You're like, God's like, okay, I keep forgiving you for this same sin. What you doing? So I guess there's our revelation. Just keep forgiving people who keep wronging you, no matter how many times they keep doing it. Wow, that's funny. No, but seriously, so I challenge you all to forgive someone today. Forgive your mom, your dad, your uncle, your grandpa, whoever has wronged you, your sister, your brother. Forgive them. Forgive yourself for things that you cannot change. Forgive yourself. Absolutely forgive yourself. And, just love on that person that you're forgiving and that's forgiving you. Remember that God forgives you for everything. No, I'm not saying you're God, and I don't forgive people for everything they do, but I make an attempt. I at least try, and I try hard to forgive people for things that they do to me knowingly and unknowingly. So I challenge you to forgive someone today. I challenge you to tell someone you forgive them and move on with your life. You'll feel so free once you forgive that person that you've been holding that situation over your head forever. And ladies, forgive your men. Please forgive them. And that way, you don't take that into your next relationship with a man who's really trying to love on you. I promise. It all works out for you. Forgiveness is just so big. So, yeah, follow me on Instagram at I_am_Cherie. Thanks for everyone who's listening today. Remember, tomorrow, 6:30, Novi, Buffalo Wild Wings. is it 265 off Haggerty or something like that? Yeah. Meet me there. Again, follow us on Facebook at Worship Center, Global Outreach Church, any of that. Anything Worship Center Network, that's us. Follow us. Get the information. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Email us if you really need directions. Tickets are $15. I look forward to meeting you all. Meet us. It also includes Buffalo Wild Wings, your $15 ticket, and you get to see the movie, and you get to see me and everybody else. Me personally, because I love all of you and I forgive all of you for everything you've ever done. No, seriously, I can't wait to meet you guys tomorrow, 6:30, Buffalo Wild Wings. Be there, $15. I look forward to meeting you all. Have a blessed, prosperous day, and remember to forgive someone. Shout out to all our supporters and listeners. Check out the hottest show on the network at worshipcenterradio.net or download the TuneIn app and look for the Worship Center Radio station. Follow us on Twitter at KICKIN_IT1 and on Instagram at I_am_SHERRIE.